Nearly 60% of workers have been micromanaged. If you're watching this, you're probably one of them. But here's my confession. Early in my management career, I caught myself falling into micromanagement habits until I learned better. That was years ago. So why did it happen? And why does your boss keep doing it? After looking at current psychology and organizational research, I see three root causes: personal factors, team dynamics, and organizational culture. Now let's get personal. I'll tell you why I became a micromanager on my first promotion. I didn't know how to delegate. I was also the expert in the team. It's partly why I was promoted. So I thought I was helping my team by keeping a close eye on everything they did. What changed? Well, the company sent me on how to be a manager courses, where I learnt about empowering teams and removing obstacles. That's when I realized I was one of the obstacles. I needed to get out of the way. This is the first personal factor: inexperience. New managers who haven't learned how to lead effectively often default to control. The good news: if your boss is new to management, they'll likely improve with time and training. But not all micromanagers are simply inexperienced. Some have deeper psychological factors driving this behavior, and those are much harder to change. A combination of insecurity, fear, and self doubt can lead any person of any experience to micromanagement. When managers feel that their job is at risk or they're under pressure to deliver results, they tighten control as a psychological defense. For some, this passes when the pressure lifts, but for others, the insecurity runs deeper and they do not change. Those factors are situational, but some micromanagers are driven by their core personality and leadership style. Perfectionists who can't tolerate mistakes often become micromanagers. They believe that if they don't control every detail, something will go wrong. So they're constantly looking over shoulders and watching every keystroke. Then there are authoritarian leaders, the my way or the highway managers. They're domineering, they dismiss input, and they demand control. And what's worse, many companies actually reward this behavior in their rising stars. So these managers climb the ladder without ever learning to lead differently. Now I'm going to widen this out to team factors. These are the dynamics between your manager and the team that can trigger micromanagement. Poor communication is a huge one. When your manager doesn't set expectations or give feedback, and team members don't provide feedback in return, you've got a communication vacuum.
What we've got here is failure to communicate.
Managers compensate by constantly asking for status updates and monitoring every detail because they don't know what's happening. Then there's the team that has consistently missed deadlines or produced work that the client rejects. Now, there are usually deeper reasons for underperformance: unclear requirements, unrealistic timelines, lack of resources. A good manager digs into those root causes and coaches the team to improve. But other managers just crack down with excessive oversight. This rarely fixes the actual problem. It often makes his performance worse. And then finally, for team factors, here's a hot take that may be controversial. Do you and all your team members agree that your boss is a micromanager? Well, what if the excessive control is because some team members genuinely can't handle autonomy? Maybe you're the competent one, but you've got colleagues who consistently produce poor work, miss obvious details, or can't work independently. Your manager defaults to micromanaging the entire team because they won't deal with people as individuals, and you end up suffering. The final set of factors are at company level. Some organizations have a blame culture where mistakes are punished instead of learned from. If the team misses a deadline due to poor requirements, your boss gets absolutely hammered from above. Their bonus could be at risk. Now, you'll know all about it because blame culture cascades down. You'll also be getting heat for minor mistakes. Everything gets monitored closely because everyone's trying to protect themselves. But maybe your company doesn't have a blame culture. Maybe they're actually pretty enlightened. There's still micromanagement. So what's the problem? Well, it could be that they don't train their managers. Remember that first personal factor I mentioned that I myself succumbed to? Inexperience? This is the organizational version. They promote people into leadership without teaching them how to lead, so those managers default to micromanagement. And now I need to talk about something that's fundamentally changing tech work. That's surveillance software. I experienced this for the first time during COVID when I took a consulting contract. I had to install software on my own machine that took random screenshots every hour, just watching me, capturing whatever was on my screen. And that's not even the worst of it. Some companies now use key press monitoring, mouse tracking, even webcam surveillance. These tools are normalizing micromanagement at an organizational level. Your boss might be a reasonable person, But when the company installs monitoring software, micromanagement becomes baked into the culture. It tells every manager, we don't trust our people to work without surveillance. And that permission structure pushes even reasonable managers towards excessive control. So now you understand why managers micromanage. It's rarely just one thing. It's usually a combination of personal factors, team dynamics, and organizational culture all feeding into each other. If you're dealing with a micromanager right now, I know this doesn't solve your problem. Understanding why it happens doesn't make it less frustrating, but it does help you figure out what you're actually dealing with. And that's the first step to handling it. In my next video, I'll show you the specific strategies that actually work for dealing with a micromanager. Some of these might surprise you. Drop a comment below. Which factor hit closest to home for you? And if this was helpful, hit subscribe so you don't miss the next one.